Very shocking news. Loudly crying face. The Voice Season 28 winner Aiden Ross loudly crying faced the heartbreaking truth behind his smile. The world often measures success by the loudness of the applause, by the confetti that falls from the ceiling, and by the trophies held high under blinding spotlights. For Aiden Ross, the winner of The Voice Season 28, that moment of victory was undeniably loud. Millions watched as his name was called, witnessing the tears and the trembling smile that marked the end of a grueling competition. However, to truly understand the man standing in that golden confetti, we must look away from the noise. We must look into the silence that preceded it. The story of Aiden Ross is not just a chronicle of a singing competition. It is a deeply human narrative about a person who walked through the valley of self-doubt to find his own voice, not for the world, but for himself. Long before the bright lights of the national stage, Aiden Ross lived in a world defined by quiet uncertainty. According to various media sources and glimpses into his early life, his journey did not begin with immediate validation. There was no red carpet rolled out in his childhood. Instead, there was the common aching reality of an artist trying to fit into a world that demanded practicality. Fans and local observers have often noted that Aiden Ross was not the loudest person in the room. He was the observer, the one who internalized emotions rather than broadcasting them. This sensitivity, which would later become his superpower on stage, initially felt like a burden. In the years leading up to his appearance on The Voice, Aiden Ross faced the kind of rejection that does not leave physical scars but chips away at the soul. While specific details of his early financial or social struggles vary across reports, the emotional current remains consistent, a feeling of being behind. He watched as peers moved forward in traditional careers, hitting life milestones that seemed to elude him. There is a specific kind of loneliness that comes from chasing a dream that offers no guarantees. It is a path paved with empty venues and unreturned emails. According to various fan accounts and early interviews, there were moments when Aiden Ross questioned if his stubbornness was bravery or simply foolishness. This was not just a lack of confidence. It was a deep-seated fear that perhaps he simply did not belong. The decision to audition for The Voice Season 28 was not made in a burst of arrogance. It was a leap of faith taken by a man who was running out of options. When Aiden Ross stepped onto the stage for his blind audition, the audience saw a performer, but those close to him saw the terrifying weight he was carrying. He was not just singing for a chair turn. He was singing to prove to himself that his life's pursuit had meaning. The pressure in that silence, just before the music started, is something that Aiden Ross has hinted at. A moment where the fear is so physical it becomes hard to breathe. Throughout the season, while the cameras focused on the high notes and the coaching sessions, a different battle was being fought behind the scenes. The grueling schedule of reality television is designed to test endurance, but for Aiden Ross, the test was mental. According to observations from the show's followers and various media reports, there were weeks where the exhaustion was visible in his eyes. It was not merely the fatigue of rehearsal. It was the psychological strain of vulnerability. Every time Aiden Ross performed, he was not just entertaining. He was opening a vein. He poured past traumas, unvoiced fears, and hidden hopes into every lyric. There was a pivotal moment in the competition, a point often discussed by fans, where Aiden Ross seemed to hit a wall. In the middle of the knockout rounds, facing intense scrutiny and the possibility of elimination, the facade nearly cracked. While unverified by official medical reports, the emotional texture of his performances during this period suggested a man on the brink of breaking. It was a time when the sheer magnitude of the platform threatened to swallow him whole. He was no longer just a singer. He was a vessel for the expectations of others. The fear of letting people down, of returning to obscurity as a failure, was a constant shadow. Yet, it was in this very desperation that his artistry matured. Aiden Ross stopped trying to be perfect and started allowing himself to be human. This shift is what ultimately captivated the audience. People did not just vote for a voice. They voted for the person. They saw in Aiden Ross a reflection of their own struggles. They saw a man who was afraid but stood his ground anyway. His refusal to manufacture a pop star persona, choosing instead to remain raw and authentic, created a bond that went beyond music. He became a symbol for the quiet ones, for those who had been told they were too sensitive or too fragile. Even after the confetti fell and the title of winner was bestowed upon him, the narrative of Aiden Ross did not transform into a simple fairy tale. Success brings its own complex architecture of pain. According to various media sources and the natural trajectory of sudden fame, the post-win period is often fraught with a new kind of isolation. Aiden Ross was thrust from the intimate struggle of his private life into the chaotic demand of the public eye. The transition is violent. There are indications, discussed by industry analysts, that the pressure to capitalize on the win immediately can lead to severe burnout. For a deeply feeling person like Aiden Ross, the commodification of his art, turning his trauma into a product, must be a jarring reality. Fans love Aiden Ross because he has not allowed this machine to erase his humanity. He carries the title with a heavy, respectful grace. He does not boast. In his post-win appearances, there is often a look of profound gratitude mixed with disbelief, as if he is still waiting for someone to tell him it was all a mistake. He remains grounded, often deflecting praise to his coaches or his family. This humility is not a performance. It is the natural state of a man who remembers what it felt like to be invisible. Verified reports on his specific financial earnings or record deals are standard for a winner of the franchise. Yet the true wealth of Aiden Ross lies in his emotional impact. He has spoken, according to various media outlets, about a desire to create music that heals. His future goals seem less about conquering charts and more about sustaining that connection he found with the audience. He wants to be a storyteller for those who cannot find the words. This ambition to serve the listener, rather than just the ego, sets him apart. As we look at Aiden Ross now, we must recognize that the journey is far from over. The fear he felt in the beginning has not vanished. It has simply changed shape. The self-doubt may still whisper on quiet nights, but he has learned to sing through it. He has learned that his sensitivity is not a weakness to be hidden, but a light to be shared. In the end, the story of Aiden Ross is not about the trophy sitting on a shelf. It is about the quiet resilience of the human spirit. It is about the boy who was afraid to speak, now standing as the man the world listens to. When the lights go down and the crowds disperse, Aiden Ross is left with the silence that once terrified him. But now, in that silence, there is no longer emptiness. There is a profound sense of peace. He has walked through the fire of his own insecurities and emerged not just as a winner, but as a whole person. And perhaps, that is the only victory that truly matters.